Hello, this is Michaela or Studious Octopus, and I'm here doing the August 2016 UK GlossyBox catch-up. So I've actually had this stuff for quite a while now. I think I've left this catch-up for a little longer than usual, but it was also my birthday in August. I turned 27, and I like to have a little bit of a break from the internet during my birthday and just spend time with my other half. But I'm here with the catch-up. I have I wouldn't say mixed feelings about this box. It's more that while everything for the most part is alright in the box, apart from the palette, I wouldn't buy any of the rest of the stuff in the box, but I'll go through it item by item by item. So what was first off? It was this pouch, and it's just the same as I said at in the actual unboxing. Maybe if you're bothered about this particular brand or you're into the whole celebrity brand things, this will make the box feel like it's worth it. But it's a overpriced little fabric makeup pouch and I am not bothered about it. But like I said with the Vive la France box, it would have been nicer, I think, if we had 5 beauty items and an extra pouch. Then I don't think people would particularly mind either way who it is or who it's by. As it is, I wouldn't buy it. I'm sure I might use it at some point, but I wouldn't buy this. So next up is the MUA eyeshadow palette, and like I said, these I do actually like, and I do buy MUA eyeshadow palettes myself. So this was the Glitter Ball palette, which is the sort of nice sparkly and colourful one. I did a swatch post on my website as well to sort of talk about the consistency of the eyeshadows. So for the most part, we have these two here, which is Vinyl and Jive, and they are actually quite matte eyeshadows with glitter in them. The MUA matte eyeshadows, they're not fantastic, but like most cheap eyeshadows, you get what you pay for. The colours are quite nice and quite pretty though, and if you work with them, they look quite nice. And then you have most of the other colours. We've got, there is Odyssey, Freak Vibe, and then it is Fever, Remix over here, Hustle, Disco and Boogie. And those are all the very light, very fine shimmer eyeshadows that MUA does, and they're probably the best MUA eyeshadows you can get. They're very nice, they apply very nice, and they are quite nice colours for the price that you're paying, because these are very, very affordable eyeshadows. But eyeshadows with their very fine shimmery sort of formula, I tend to find those are the best, and I like those the most. So I really like those. And then the other two that are a different sort of formula is this one up here, Equinox, and this one here, Inferno, and they are the much chunkier style of glitter that you can get, and they're really, really gorgeous. Inferno in particular is this really, really lovely colour. There we go. It's this really, really gorgeous colour that I would be quite happy to wear on its own, but it's a quite chunky formula and might not wear as well. It might sort of fall off, because I can see it's sort of got little clumps on even on my finger that might sort of just come off. But it's really beautiful colour, but maybe not like the best formula with it being a bit chunky, but really, really gorgeous. I like that one. And then the other one, Equinox, also has sort of a chunkiness and sort of comes out the pan a bit when you work it, but again it's sort of that lovely colour. So those are sort of thicker, more different sort of a shimmer shadow, but it's interesting. So in the palette you have the 3 different types of formulas. I would say the worst out of them are probably their matte shades aren't the best out of all of them, but in this palette you only get 2 matte shades. So overall, really like this palette. I would definitely recommend someone just buy it. It's got a really lovely, unusual array of shades, particularly for an MUA palette, because they are guilty of doing a lot of the Urban Decay dupes where they're all very smoky and bland and kind of similar, so it's nice to get something a bit more unusual. So this was only £4, and I would definitely say MUA eyeshadow palettes are worth getting. So next up was the Mud Facial Detox Recovery Mask, which is interesting enough. I have been using it just on my nose, which is where I actually have the most pronounced pores that bug me. And it's been interesting. It feels like it works. You do get that slight tingling sensation. I can feel it working on my pores. It feels like it's purifying it, but like most high-end stuff, I'm not particularly sure that this is so much better than a regular clay mask to warrant the full size being worth £50. And the full size is only a little bit bigger than this, if I remember. I worked that out. Yeah, the full size is 60 millilitres and we got 20, so this is only 1/3 full size. So you wouldn't be getting a lot of mask for £50. Maybe if you're in that kind of sort of higher end beauty and skincare market, but I probably would just have to say it's not worth it for the price. But it's still nice. I'm still glad that I got it. I always feel that way, I think, about most high-end stuff that we get to try. As long as it's not something I completely can't use. It's not that I dislike getting it. I like getting it and I love trying it all out. It's just I also won't be buying it, which I do think is kind of interesting to know. Next up is the Spa to You cleansing brush. This was interesting to use, and I do have mixed feelings about this. In my unboxing I talked about the Botanics brush that I have, which is too soft, which is the head sort of splays all the way out and it doesn't particularly feel like it's doing as much as it could for my skin. On the other hand, it feels like kind of a Goldilocks type situation to say this, but this brush I actually think is perhaps a bit too firm. It's not super comfortable to use. What I also feel like is the amount that the nubs in here are recessed down. To actually get them hitting against your face, you would have to press it down quite firmly, and I do think it's too firm a brush to really do that. To my skin at least. Obviously people have lots of different skin types. Mine I think is a little too sensitive for one this harsh, which feels annoying to say because it's like I need one just in between this one and the Botanics one, which is too soft. Other than that, some of the other things I wanted to mention, it is better that it has the smaller head. I did actually feel like I could get around my nose and sort of along my jawline and it would be more targeted, and I did actually really like that. Another downside I would say is this handle is, because it's just smooth plastic and it doesn't have any grippy bits, say like a pan handle. Some of them have sort of a silicone pad on them. When it gets wet, it feels like it just slips in my hand when I'm trying to use it on my face, which I didn't particularly like. So I don't think the design is quite right. I think it could do with being a bit more grippy and maybe this head being a little softer, just a little bit, just a little bit. But there we go, the Spa to You brush. As it stands, with it only being £7, I don't think it's actually a terrible purchase. It's probably a better indicator of how good a facial brush can be than the Boots Botanics one, simply because that one feels so too soft as a brush, but this one's just a little bit too hard. But there we go. And the last little item was our deluxe sample of Cowshed, which is again like the face mask. It's really nice that I got it and I enjoyed trying it, but I do think it was perhaps a touch too small a sample size for a body lotion because it got used up quite quickly. Mainly what I feel, since I actually use the Soap and Glory body butters, the Sugar Crush one is my favourite, it's the one that I usually have. They're only £10 for 300 millilitres and these are twice the price, £20-ish for 300 millilitres, and it didn't feel that much nicer and it didn't smell any nicer to be worth twice as much, because the Soap and Glory body butters are already really lovely and they're half the price at only £10. So it was really nice and interesting to try a Cowshed product, but not again to the degree that I would warrant spending £20 on a 300 millilitre body butter when I could just spend £10 on a 300 millilitre body butter, and that's sort of the price point that I find you get a really good one anyway. And I really like the Soap and Glory ones. I've also used the Body Shop ones, but I kind of don't like the formula of the Body Shop ones. I don't like how oily and like stay on your skinny they are. I don't know if that's just me, but so that was the box in the end. August 2016 box. So the only product I would say is a standout definite. I like it as a beauty budget product for sure, because I do think it's important to sort of add that on. For the price, this is you should give them a go. They're great. I don't regret having it. I would buy this myself. Everything else is a bit more, no, not really. Which is a shame. The only thing that is a standout no is the pouch, which I suppose if you wanted to get technical means that really the box is worth £30 to me. It's not worth £50. I wouldn't buy a £20 makeup bag. So that's it for today's catch-up, and like I said last time, we still have our sneak peek, which I think is the only other one they've done online as well, which is that we will be getting a deluxe sample of the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced, which I'm looking forward to. I have heard very good things about it, and I will see you again next time. Actually mostly a lot like the normal design. You have this pink matte finish box, but we have these stripes. Intro's not too long, admittedly, which is good, but yeah.
And we've already seen the worst that the PC version has to.